Welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, Books, Beverages, and Author Conversations. Today I am joined by Virginia Trench to talk all about her debut novel, Our Secrets Were Safe, releasing July 15th. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited to talk with you. I have had the Pretty Little Liars song playing in my head ever since I got your
Ooh.
book. Even like walking around with my husband, because we typically try to walk our dog together like once a day, and I literally have been singing it as I've been reading your book just because it's like fits so well with that.
It's kind of a hypnotizing song. It almost
It
makes you
is.
forget that when I forget the actress's name, but when she does the shh, her finger
Yes.
is totally off center and it drives me crazy every single time.
That's so funny. It's brought up a lot of your book has brought up a lot of conversations about that show and just me like babbling to my husband about your book and then about that show. So, but before we get into that a little bit more, do you have a nightcap pairing for us?
Yes, I do. My go-to summer cocktail, which I could totally see being Nantucket ready per the setting of the setting of some of this book, is an elderflower gimlet. So you shake gin, or if you're more of a vodka kind of person, 2 ounces of vodka with an ounce of Saint Germain or some other elderflower liqueur, squeezed lime, half an ounce of simple syrup. Serve it straight up with a lime slice. It is so refreshing, so delicious. You can get fancy by muddling some basil, some cucumber. It's just really light and crisp, perfect for summer.
That is perfect. That is oh, that sounds so good right now and goes so well with the book and this time of the year. So, can you give us a quick overview of Our Secrets Were Safe for readers and what they can expect from the story?
Absolutely. So, this story follows two best friends who think they have gotten away with a terrible crime. It is set in from three perspectives in two different timelines. One of the timelines is present day. It follows Brooke, who is newly engaged, starting this prestigious new teaching job. She's getting married. She's so excited for this next chapter of her life. And Caroline, who is CEO of a feminist tech startup, who's just dying to launch her business and get it to the next level. But both of them are thwarted by haunting messages, threatening, trolling, very Pretty Little Liars, but for grown-ups. It makes it clear that someone knows what happened to their friend Sophia, who tragically died while they were Yale students a decade previously. So that's pretty much the where we begin with the characters. We get to hear from Sophia in the past, as well as Brooke and Caroline in the present. And yeah, I set out to write a down in one gulp bingeable beach read, and I hope people like it. It was so much fun to write.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I want to get more to that, but take us back to like the beginning of your writing journey too. When did that start? What first inspired you?
Oh, sure. So I am such a thriller girly. I'm an unapologetic mystery nerd. I consume especially audiobooks. I go through like one of them a week. It's honestly how I navigate. I have two young kids. I have a 2 month old and a 2 year old. And I feel like the audiobooks keep me sane. Although it is kind of strange to be like cradling my beautiful newborn daughter and listening to this like very dark mystery. But I just truly fell in love with the genre. And I thought, you know what? The heck? I'm going to try to write one. I've always loved everything relating to books and literature. I was an English teacher for a long time. And, having read so many books in the genre, I feel like I wanted to tell a story that happens after the crime and sort of explore how guilt and just the emotional toll that a really dark secret can take on a person. I wanted to look into that, and I wanted to make sure that the victim had a voice in the story, because obviously that's not something we can get in real life. So I thought in fiction that could be really powerful to look into. So I'd say, what happens if they think they got away with it was the central question that drove writing this book in the beginning.
Would you say, or was it easier to write in sort of the present tense and like what's happening today and where these characters are at, or was it easier to write Sophia? Maybe it's like a character question, more of a tense question, but was there a difference?
Um, so my agent would probably laugh at this because I will never write another multiple timeline novel. It was so complicated making sure that everything fit together. But so I'd say that it was challenging making sure that each perspective felt unique, all the puzzle pieces fit together. But I love that element of a thriller. The more intricate the puzzle, the happier I am. So I wouldn't say that one perspective was easier than the others. They all are up to such different things in the book. But it was a blast getting them to weave together and each fill in part of the puzzle.
Did you have a favorite character to write or write about?
Hmm. I have to say, I don't want to give too much away, but I love writing villains. I love delving into their psychology, what makes them tick, just their belief from their point of view that they are not bad, that they're just simply trying to do X, Y, and Z, and no, the world is getting in their way. So I truly love delving into the darker elements of human nature. That's what I think makes this genre so fun. So yeah, villains all the way.
I completely agree with you. I was just talking to someone else about that, and I was like, I just find it kind of fascinating to like get
Mhm.
into or to try to understand the psychology behind that, or like what motivates this fictional person to do what they do, to take those actions. So what would you say was like what was the initial inspiration for this story in particular? Was there like a moment? Did you see something? Where did this story originate?
I always think of the crime, and then everything sort of builds around that. So I thought, okay, what if there was this terrible accident and two people manipulate the truth? So I think, and for me, I've just completed I'm editing my second novel. I'm working on proposals for books 3 and 4, and I always start with the crime at the center of the story.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. And then what you were talking about, like the timeline and how it was really hard to map that all together. So what was your process like? Are you like the sticky note person? Do you red line across a
Ooh,
room to make
no,
sure?
I would truly love to have, like, a serial killer-esque spider's web in my office.
How cool would that
Um,
be?
it would be great. I don't think my type A nature would really allow it for too long, but I'm a big outliner. Like, I definitely map out as much of the story as I can start to finish, before I get into writing each chapter. So, I try to be methodical. Sticky notes, I feel like my cat would have a field day with those, and those might not be like maybe I could put them out of his reach, maybe, but I feel like that would just be tempting fate a little bit. But yeah, all about the outlines all over my computer, notes on my phone, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I think in a we love to see it in a TV show to have kind of the red string and everything, but in
Mhm.
a real scenario, I don't know if it would make a whole lot of sense or help actually connect all of the dots like we think it would from seeing it in a movie or anything like that. Um, when did you actually start like writing this?
I think it was ooh, I think it was 2020, maybe 2021. It was right as we started to emerge from the COVID-19 lockdowns.
Okay.
Um, and it's set in 2019, so pre-COVID. Yeah.
So what has your writing and publishing process been like? Did you kind of go the normal route of writing it, getting an agent, querying that entire process?
Yes, it is such a dream come true. I mentioned this in the acknowledgments of my book, but I have dreamed of being an author since I was about 8 years old. And I just, I thought this story probably won't go anywhere besides the ether of my computer. But I really didn't want to regret not giving it a real shot. So I think I must have sent the manuscript to 80 different agents,
Wow.
connected with the fabulous Tess Calero, who is just such a queen. And through I can't remember, querying, and then she pitched it to several different publishers. But it was about a year-long process from like, I'm ready to send this to people to inking the book deal.
Okay, wow. That's I just don't feel like people always realize like the amount of time that's truly gone into this. But what was the most surprising part for you with the publishing process so far?
That anyone wanted to read this shit. I I was
No.
so blown away that, this thing that I stayed up late working on and writing, which I very much said in my mind at the time was just for fun, actually captured the interest of a legit publisher.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so then tell me, how did it feel when you first got your book in print?
Like, I wondered for months if I had entered an elaborate Beautiful Mind situation. It did not feel real. I just was pinching myself. It was so exciting. It feels real now that I've actually like met my publishing team and Zoom and in person, and that um, and held the book in my hands. But totally surreal. Just overjoyed, so excited to see where this goes.
And it's beautiful. I know not everyone is like super involved, but what was your involvement like in the cover design?
Ooh, I I was blown away. I'm obsessed with the cover design. The
So good.
amazing designer um, suggested picking up on that portrait of Sophia, which is featured prominently in the book, and he had the brilliant idea of making the back look like the back of a canvas. So my jaw dropped when I saw that cover design.
It's incredible.
It's
I was
gorgeous.
doing another recording with the other co-host of this show at one point, and I actually think we'd stopped recording, but we were kind of talking about, like the upcoming episodes and what we've got going on. And I showed your book to them, and all of them were like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." I was like, "I know,
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited." So it turned out incredible.
Thanks so much.
In addition to the story as well, which is just so twisty, turny, everything that you want from like a summer thriller, and so much fun to see like from page 1, which was awesome. So what advice, I mean, the position you're in, I feel like is, I mean, it is unique in like the grand scheme of all of this. I know that I'm super grateful that I get to talk to a lot of authors, some of them being debut authors, but it's so incredible. It's such an amazing milestone to get to where you're at. And there are so many people that aspire to be in that position as well. So what would your advice be?
Oh gosh, two things that sound really simple, but they're actually really hard. One is to read obsessively in the kind of genre or the kind of story, whether that's fantasy, historical fiction, thrillers. Just nerd out over it. It's so important to get a sense for what's already out there to help hone. Oh, here's a story that hasn't been told before. Here's a unique pitch that I could make. And also just to refine your voice and your unique take on whatever it is you want to write about. So that's number one. And two, writing means you will write on weekends. You won't be going out at night. Like, I mean, obviously, as a suburban mom, I wasn't doing those things anyway. Um, I wrote most of my two books while pregnant, so it's not like my world was super exciting, but just it's really boring. You can't talk about writing. You need to actually put your butt in the chair, sit down, and do the work, which is much easier said than done.
So true, so true. How are you balancing it now as a mother and working on your second one, working on proposals for a third and fourth? How do you balance it all?
Honestly, it's been such a gift how cyclical it's been. My second manuscript for Mr. Disappear, my second novel, is about a con man and a group of women who take him down. That was sitting with my editor as I was entering my third trimester, had the baby, and we're going to be kicking the manuscript back and forth now that I've just sort of come up for air in the newborn phase, which is bananas. And yeah, I mean, I just try to always have some irons in the fire, ideas that I can pick up when I have time to really dive into a project. So yeah, honestly, one day at a time. It's crazy with a toddler and a newborn. But yeah, just one word at a time, one session at a time.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. And a couple other of my other co-hosts are in a similar boat with a couple little ones. Two of them actually. They both have one has like a newborn and a toddler, and the other one
Oh,
has a toddler and an almost 1 year old. She'll be one here
yeah.
in the next couple of
It's
months.
great,
So
but it's no joke. It's a lot.
it's no joke, and we but yeah, we make it happen one day at a time, and
Mhm.
for us, it's not the writing, but it's, like, one episode at a time,
Yeah.
and we,
Totally.
we all kinda have to pivot and work things out, but we make it happen.
Mhm.
Um, what so I know you're just, like you said you're so excited that people are reading this. What do you hope readers take away from Our Secrets Were Safe?
Ooh, a mind-bending puzzle. And that I try to integrate one thing that I think is so great about the thriller genre, particularly in the last decade, is writers are incorporating feminist issues into the story. And writers like, I don't know, Chandler Baker, Andrea Bartz, even, oh gosh, who am I thinking of? It'll come to me, I'm sure, at 2 in the morning. But it is so cool to see this become a platform for exploring toxic relationships, patriarchal power dynamics, of the Me Too movement, and crimes against women, violence against women. It is, I think, this is a powerful art form, is exploring those things and putting women in charge, in power, sort of solving their, own mysteries and not just, tied up in a basement somewhere. Which no offense to like Stephen King or anything like that, but it is nice to see some feminist things take rise. And just with like Caroline's Company, there's so many interesting things going on with D and I now. Things that I hoped would not become topical again. It's just like, oh wow. Like in a weird way, I feel like Equilibrium, which in the book, it's a software that helps analyze job postings to make them equally appealing to all the genders. Um, I feel like it would be in big trouble now with just the political climate, which is depressing, but also super interesting. And also just I love a thriller where everyone's a little bit guilty. So I think that'll be fun for book clubs and for people to talk about as the different levels of culpability in the
It
story.
is. Oh, no, I always find that so interesting too. And I was talking to someone else too similarly about how like I find it interesting when every party in the story has some level of guilt, and it's almost like the reader
Mhm.
to kind of figure out, and like, do you take a side? Do you decide which one is like more guilty than the
Totally.
other for something? It's so, so, so interesting. Shoot, there was something else I want to say. Oh, no, on that note, there are so many other I know we're all like we love a good summer thriller,
Yes.
but there are so many other themes that your story has in it too. Like I would even add, and one that always really resonates with me is like family dynamics
Mhm.
and the impact that certain like family structures or actions or things can have on the characters and how it plays into their actions and who they are as well. So yeah, yours definitely has a lot of layers to it.
Thank you. They were a lot of fun to put in there.
Oh, I bet. Okay, so we've talked a lot about you love thrillers. So what are any like recent recommendations,
Ooh,
reading recommendations that you've
yes.
loved?
I just got out of a reading slump, so this is the perfect time to talk about it. I also read like horror and some horror light. Like I don't get too into that, but Grady Hendrix's Witchcraft for Wayward Girls was absolutely incredible. It is set in the 1970s in what was known at the time as a home for unwed mothers. And the political background is just fascinating. The historical background is great, and, the girls at this home in Florida, because of course this happens in Florida because it's so weird, um, become like, find their way to witchcraft, and it just I could not put it down, it was phenomenal. That one was great. I also just finished The Quiet Tenant by Clem Clements? I don't know. This is such a terrible pronunciation, episode. Really
If it
embarrassing.
helps that you fit right in with almost every other episode.
Clemens Michelin, The Quiet Tenant, the writing is so gorgeous. It's told from the perspective of a woman who is locked up in her captor's woodshed, and it's her story of how she tries to survive, how she got into that situation, and the women who came before her. So those 2 would be my absolute 10 out of 10, recent recs.
Oh my goodness, okay, those are perfect. Have you read The Mesmerist by
No.
Caroline Woods? Okay, I think you might really like it. I'm even wondering if
The
I'm like, where is
Mesmerist. Let me write it
am
down.
right in
It's a
my um I'm like looking at my bookshelf, like where? Oh, yeah, okay, there it is. This book.
hang on.
I think you
Ooh,
would
no, I love the
I
cover
think
though.
it's a really cool cover, and just based on like your style and what you were talking about. So this is set, oh gosh, it's been in the 1800s in Minnesota at so yeah, so like right after the Civil War when people are kind of fascinated with like mesmerism and like what's real
Ooh.
versus what's
Mhm.
not. And this girl shows up essentially at also a home for like unwed mothers.
Mhm.
And there's all sorts of rumors about like, does she have these other abilities? At the
Ooh.
same time, there's a serial killer and like girls in the area are dying. And it's told from multiple perspectives, and a couple of the characters are actually based off of like real figures from that time period in that
Ooh.
area. But I think you might really like
Oh,
it.
I will definitely check that out. That sounds awesome.
If you read it, let me know what you think.
For sure.
But it was a fun read. And that was, yeah, even the cover says, is it magic or is it murder? And I
Mm,
don't know. I thought that that was so fun and so interesting to dive into that time period where that was
yeah,
so real for people, because it's post Civil War. A lot of people have passed away and they're kind of fascinated or like want a connection to their lost loved ones. And so it's almost too like, what are you willing to believe to be able to connect with someone that you lost? Yeah.
mm, cool.
So,
I'll check that out for sure.
yeah. What about podcasts? Because a couple of us, myself included, are very much true crime podcast people. So, are you the same?
No, I mean, honestly, it's been a while since one has really, gosh, I'm like way off my podcast game. I'm much more of a deep dive girly than
Okay.
a series dedicated to one case or one crime or whatever. So I've tried to do like the single episode ones, couldn't get into it, but one sort of lesser known um, one I'd recommend to anybody is The Chameleon,
Okay.
about a con artist, and also Sweet Bobby. This is all part of my research for my second novel. Sweet Bobby was about like a dating app con man. Just if you need like a break from serial killers and, horrible things like that. And not to say that these criminals aren't terrible people, terrible humans. The Chameleon and Sweet Bobby could I just like one of those stare at the wall and listen type stories.
Okay. I love that because I like newer ones too. And yeah, sometimes you need a break from the really horrific,
Yeah,
dark, doesn't make the other ones, any less bad. But sometimes we all just need a little bit of separation too once they
for
get
sure.
really, really dark. That's awesome. On that note, okay, so you mentioned your research. Did you have to do like any significant amount of research for Our Secrets Were Safe?
Ooh, honestly, no. Gosh, yeah, I don't think so. Apart from legal research and making sure that the mechanics of the story could actually happen. Know that my second book is much more research intensive than my first, I'd say.
That's, I mean, maybe that's, I think you can have a good balance either way. So
For
I was
sure.
just curious because I'm always like, what's everyone's process like? when they do have to do that. So very good. Well, in addition to this show, do you have any events or plans with the release of your book next month when we're talking, although this episode will
Yeah,
be
so
out around the same time?
excited. Another podcast. I think Our Secrets was selected for one of those like book vacation thingamajigs, which I'm so delighted. Like the idea of just a bunch of women going to sit in goddamn peace and read for a weekend. Like, I'm delighted to be associated with anything with that kind of vibe. Doing a launch at a local bookstore. So yeah, just stuff like that. I can't
Right.
believe it's finally going to be out in the world. I'm so excited.
What bookstore?
It's called The Tattered Cover. I live in Colorado.
Here.
Oh, no way. Yeah. It's great. It's like I think it was acquired by Barnes and Noble, but it's very much like the beloved bookstore in Denver. So
It is. Yeah, I have been there. I actually because that's the one in the station, right?
they have a couple locations, but yes, they
Okay.
have one in Union Station. Oh, that's
Okay.
a cool location. That's a cool spot just in general.
Yeah, so I irrelevant story that doesn't matter to anybody, but I
Matters
spent
to
like a
me.
full
Go
I
ahead.
spent like a full day there and I read an entire book just sitting in Union Station.
That sounds heavenly.
Um yeah, and so I went to the bookstore there. I was super excited because I'd never been, so I was already like planning on going.
Mhm.
What I wasn't planning on was spending an entire day in Union Station, but I did. I like got coffee. I read an entire book cover to cover, just sitting there and then like moving around whenever I got uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then I went eventually like toward the end of the day, there's a little like well, there are a couple, but there's like a little gin bar
Hmm.
off to the side. So then I went and I sat there and I started my second book. It was actually
Oh
like
my gosh. I love
and
this journey for you.
yeah, like I wish more days were like that, honestly.
Totally.
It's
And
super random, but
where in the
like
world are you? Like, where are you based?
so I am in the weird state of Florida. Yes,
You
and it's
definitely need to read Witchcraft for Wayward Girls then.
oh, the second you said that, I was like, I have to, and it is just as weird as you said, just as interesting. But so we have four hosts for this podcast, and we are all in different locations. I'm in Florida. Megan is in Iowa. Um, Jordan actually just moved to Colorado like 4 days ago.
Oh, no way.
So she just moved there from Arizona, and then Emily is in Washington State. So we cover literally coast to
All over
coast.
the place. Love it.
Um, yeah, so in addition to, me working very a lot, and then two of us having small children and families, we're
Mhm.
all in different time zones. So
Oh,
our
fun.
our
Fun.
schedules and our coordination is kind of crazy. Our text message chats are always interesting because like I'll typically wake up to messages and respond when it's like 4 in the morning for some people.
Oh, no.
But we make it work. So
Well, Colorado is great. Tell Jordan if she wants to hang out. I'm down.
I'm gonna have to tell her to go to your event. Is that listed on your website?
Oh, no, and it should be. Yeah, gosh, I forgot about my website, which is a shame because it is really pretty.
It is really
We
pretty.
designed it to look like the cover of the first book. Sorry, my cat's having a meltdown. Let me just open the door really
Oh no,
quickly.
you're good.
He gets he gets really bad separation anxiety. And I just got a bunch of pipe cleaners for a little craft for my toddler, and he's very confused about who the pipe cleaners are for. So I see he brought me several. Thanks, honey.
That's so sweet. Oh my, I get it because I have a dog who has separation anxiety. So,
Hmm.
um, I totally understand that, and the only reason he's not kicked out is because my husband's not home right now. So I was like, "You can hang out here. There's not anything else going on."
Love
But
it.
where can
Oh,
readers
right.
connect? Oh, hello. Oh my goodness.
He gets antsy when it's not all about him.
What
So
is his name?
this is Fred, Fred the cat. He is a big personality and is my emotional support writing cat. So
Of
big part of
course.
all my writing processes. Honestly, I would love to be more active on social media. I always think that, and then I try to be more active on social media and I hate it. But I am on Instagram. It's Virginia Trench Books, and my website is just virginiatrench.com.
Awesome. Well, either way, we will link to those in the podcast notes so that people can follow along with you, order
Lovely.
Our Secrets Were Safe, connect with you when you have a chance between your writing and being a mom to send you a quick message and let you know what they think about the book. But thank you so much for coming onto our show as one of your stops. Thank you for this opportunity to read your book in advance as well. I absolutely adored it heading into the summer, and I can't wait for and I can't wait for readers to have this just next month. So, thank you so much again.
This was so much fun. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.